And I die in the street about this shit, man. This shit dead serious to me.
Now pause for a second, because when T.I. says something like that, people start paying attention immediately. And right now, the entire hip-hop world is watching this situation between 50 Cent, King Harris, and the Harris family unfold in real time. Because what started as internet trolling has now turned into something much more serious. Now, if you've been following hip-hop for a while, you already know that 50 Cent is probably the most dangerous internet troll in rap history. This man has spent the last 20 years clowning everybody, from Ja Rule to Rick Ross, to even people inside his own circle. And most of the time, when 50 starts trolling someone online, people either ignore it or they try to laugh it off. Because everybody knows once you respond to 50 Cent, the situation usually gets worse. But this time, the situation didn't just stay on the internet. Because this time, 50 Cent didn't just make jokes about another rapper. He brought someone's mother into the conversation. And that's where everything changed. The situation really exploded when 50 Cent started posting about Tiny Harris, who was the wife of T.I. and the mother of King Harris. 50 posted photos comparing her appearance from years ago to now and started making jokes about it. Now, to some people online, it looked like just another one of 50 Cent's trolling moments, but to the Harris family, that wasn't funny at all. Because in hip-hop culture, there's always been an unspoken rule. You can clown somebody's music, you can talk about their career, you can even roast them online. But once someone's mother or family gets dragged into the situation, that's when things become personal. And that's exactly what happened here. Because as soon as those posts started circulating online, King Harris saw them, and he completely lost it. The young rapper jumped on Instagram Live and started going directly at 50 Cent. Not joking, not trolling, but straight disrespect. Clips from that live stream immediately started spreading across the internet, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and suddenly everyone was talking about the moment where King told 50 Cent to go dig your mama up.
I want to say something about my mama. Your mama dead as Your mama dead as Go dig her up. Go dig her up.
That one line alone sent the entire internet into chaos. Some people said King went too far. Others said he had every right to defend his mother. But either way, the beef had officially exploded. And once the internet started debating the situation, it didn't take long before T.I. himself finally stepped in. And when Tip started speaking about the situation publicly, his message was very clear. This wasn't about clout. This wasn't about promotion. And this definitely wasn't about entertainment. To him, this was about family. And as you just heard in that clip, T.I. made it very clear how serious he is about protecting his family, which is exactly why the conversation that happened on that podcast has the entire internet paying attention right now. Because the way T.I. explained this situation, it sounds like this beef might be going way further than people expected. And once you hear exactly what he said about 50 Cent starting this entire situation, you'll understand why this drama has gotten so intense. So, let's break down exactly what happened. Now, after those first posts started circulating, the situation between 50 Cent and King Harris quickly started getting messy. Because once 50 Cent notices someone reacting to his trolling, he usually pushes things even further. And that's exactly what happened here. Instead of ignoring the situation, 50 started posting about King Harris more and more memes, reposts, sarcastic captions. And one of the posts that really started going viral was the frog meme. The meme compared King Harris to a cartoon frog. And of course, the internet started laughing immediately. Hip-hop pages reposted it. Comment sections exploded. And once again, 50 Cent had turned someone into the center of internet jokes. Now, normally when this happens, people either stay quiet or try to laugh it off. But King Harris wasn't doing that. He kept responding, posting videos, talking directly to 50, calling him out for constantly picking on him online. And the more King responded, the more 50 kept trolling. But then the situation crossed a completely different line. Because instead of just making jokes about King Harris, 50 Cent brought his mother into the situation. 50 posted photos of Tiny Harris comparing her appearance from years ago to now, and the captions were clearly meant to clown her. Now for the internet, it was just another viral 50 Cent post. But for the Harris family, that wasn't funny at all. Because in hip-hop culture, bringing someone's mother into a public beef is one of the quickest ways to turn things personal. And the moment King Harris saw those posts, he jumped on Instagram Live and went straight at 50 Cent. Not joking, not trolling, but straight disrespect.
You not love. You rich, but you not love. Money means nothing without no one to spend it with. Your son don't love you.
That moment alone shocked a lot of people. Because King Harris wasn't just responding to memes anymore. He was attacking 50 Cent personally, talking about his family, talking about his relationship with his son, and basically telling the world that all the money in the world doesn't mean anything if the people around you don't love you. Clips from that live started spreading everywhere: Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, hip-hop blogs, and suddenly the entire internet was watching this situation explode. But the drama didn't stop there, because while people were still debating the insults, another topic started getting dragged into the conversation: something from 50 Cent's past. Something connected to a man named Kenneth Supreme McGriff. Now, if you know anything about the history of 50 Cent, that name is a big deal. Kenneth McGriff was one of the most powerful figures in Queens, New York during the 1980s and 90s. He ran an organization called the Supreme Team, a group heavily connected to major drug operations across the city. By the early 2000s, McGriff had started getting involved in the music industry, but at the same time, he had serious problems with 50 Cent. Their conflict goes way back. In fact, many people believe McGriff was connected to the infamous 2000 shooting where 50 Cent was hit 9 times. 50 survived that attack, but it changed his life forever. And when he became famous a few years later, he didn't stay quiet about what was happening around him. In 2003, after releasing his debut album, Get Rich or Die Trying, 50 dropped a song called Ghetto Quran. And in that song, he mentioned several people connected to the Queens street scene, including members of the Supreme Team, which only made the tension between him and McGriff even bigger. And now, years later, that history is suddenly being brought back into the conversation again, because the internet is starting to dig up old stories, old accusations, and old documents connected to that situation, which means this beef between 50 Cent and the Harris family is no longer just about memes and Instagram posts. Now it's dragging in history that goes back decades. And that's exactly why when T.I. finally spoke about this situation on that podcast, his message sounded so serious, because to him, this whole thing was never supposed to go this far. Now, once the internet started exploding with memes, insults, and old stories from the past, eventually, T.I. decided to finally address the entire situation publicly. And he did it during a podcast conversation that quickly started going viral online. Because according to T.I., people on the internet were completely misunderstanding what was actually happening. From his perspective, this wasn't entertainment, this wasn't promotion, and it definitely wasn't some kind of rap marketing strategy. This was about disrespect. And according to him, everything could have been avoided if certain things never happened in the first place.
Now
I ain't into this.
you were asked about verses on Shay Shay,
Yeah.
and you were asked about verses with Gillian Wallah.
That's right.
Both of your
I was asked.
right, but both
I'm
of your
not out here
responses
soliciting.
Yeah, but your responses led to 50 having something to setting it off.
Man,
And I think we all pretty much agree, before we get off into it, none of us really love the whole posting of your lady. Nobody loves all that.
After that moment, T.I. started explaining something important. He said that in a world with billions of people, not everyone has to like you, not everyone has to support you, but there's one thing he expects from everyone: respect. And that's the line he believes 50 Cent crossed.
It's 8 billion people in the world. Everybody ain't got to like me. I ain't everybody cup of tea. You know what I mean? I'm too strong for some. Might not be strong enough for others. It's fine. I'm cool with that. You ain't got to even with me at all. Just don't disrespect me, man.
According to T.I., the moment someone starts disrespecting your family publicly, that changes everything. Because at that point, it's no longer just internet jokes. Now it's personal. And that's why he made it very clear that he wasn't chasing attention or trying to turn the situation into publicity. He even explained that if he wanted promotion, he could easily get it without all this drama, because after decades in the music industry, his career and his life are already established. Money, success, family. None of that depends on internet beef.
He has money, businesses, and a family that he built over many years. So chasing internet drama for publicity simply doesn't make sense for him. Instead, he made it clear that the real issue started when the conversation went beyond music and internet jokes. Because once his wife became part of the situation, everything changed. To T.I., that wasn't trolling anymore. That was disrespect. And he made it clear that while he understands people don't have to like him, there is still a line that shouldn't be crossed. According to him, people can criticize his music, they can debate his career, they can even argue with him online. But bringing his family into the situation is something completely different. And that's where he believes the entire situation went wrong. In fact, he even suggested that none of this drama would exist today if things had been handled differently from the start. Because if certain posts were never made, if certain comments were never said, then there wouldn't have been any reason for the situation to escalate the way it did. But once the internet started reacting, once the memes started spreading, and once the insults started flying back and forth, the situation quickly took on a life of its own. And that's when things started getting complicated. Because while T.I. might have been trying to keep things calm, the same couldn't be said for everyone else involved, especially when it came to his son. Because while the internet was watching the drama unfold, King Harris was responding in his own way. And some of those responses ended up pushing the situation even further than T.I. originally wanted it to go. Which is exactly why the next part of this story became even more intense. Because now the attention wasn't just on the original posts anymore. Now people were watching how King Harris himself was reacting to everything happening online.
Now, while T.I. was trying to explain the situation calmly during that interview, the internet was still focused on something else, his son. Because King Harris had already jumped directly into the middle of the beef, and the way he responded shocked a lot of people. Instead of ignoring the situation, King Harris went straight to social media and started firing back at 50 Cent. During his live streams, he wasn't holding anything back. He mocked 50 Cent personally. He questioned his relationship with his own son. And he even said something that immediately started spreading across the internet, that 50 might be rich, but he isn't loved. That moment alone made the situation explode even more online, because now the insults had moved far beyond memes and trolling. Now it was personal attacks about family. And once those clips started going viral, the entire internet began debating who had gone too far. Some people felt like King Harris crossed the line. Others believed he was simply defending his mother after she had been dragged into the situation first. But during the podcast interview, T.I. actually gave a very honest response about his son's behavior. He admitted that he wasn't enjoying seeing King involved in all of this, because as a father, he said he has spent years trying to teach his children how to stay calm in situations like this, how to think logically, how to avoid reacting emotionally when things get heated online. But at the same time, T.I. also admitted something important. He understands why King reacted the way he did. Because from King's perspective, his mother had just been publicly embarrassed in front of millions of people. And when something like that happens, emotions take over. So while T.I. might not agree with everything his son said online, he also understands where that anger came from. And according to him, the one thing he was proud of in the middle of all this chaos was seeing that the men in his family were willing to stand up and protect the women in their household. To him, that wasn't about internet clout. That was about family values. But even with that understanding, T.I. still admitted that he had to step in and try to calm things down. Because once insults start flying back and forth online, situations can spiral very quickly. And the last thing he wanted was for this internet drama to turn into something much bigger in real life. But at the same time, he also made it clear that defending his family was something he takes extremely seriously. And that's exactly why one specific statement he made during that interview ended up becoming the most viral moment of the entire conversation. Because when T.I. explained just how serious he was about protecting his family, the message sounded less like a podcast discussion and more like a warning. And that moment is exactly what has the entire hip-hop world talking right now.